In 2025, the global landscape is shifting rapidly. International travel, once seen as a gateway to understanding different cultures, is now encountering obstacles in the form of entry bans, restrictions, and even diplomatic standoffs. While Americans have long enjoyed the privilege of being able to travel to most countries without hassle, a number of destinations are now off-limits, at least for the foreseeable future. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the 10 countries that Americans can no longer enter as of 2025, and explore the reasons behind these bans or restrictions.
1. North Korea.
Reason for ban: diplomatic tensions and security concerns. North Korea has been off-limits to most Americans for years, but as of 2025, the situation has only gotten worse. The country has ramped up its restrictions following increasing tensions between the US and North Korea over nuclear weapons development and military exercises in the region. The US government itself has issued travel advisories, advising citizens to avoid the country. While a few adventurous souls may still attempt to enter through third-party tour companies, the restrictions are so severe that it has become nearly impossible for most Americans to travel there legally. For the US government, North Korea is considered one of the most dangerous countries for its citizens due to ongoing threats of arrest, detention, and the unpredictable nature of the regime.
2. Iran.
Reason for ban: diplomatic strain and sanctions. For years, relations between the US and Iran have been fraught with tension, and in 2025, it appears that the situation is no different. The US and Iran have been at odds over a number of issues, including Iran's nuclear ambitions, support for militant groups in the Middle East, and the US government's stance on human rights abuses in the country. Iran's government has imposed a travel ban on American citizens due to these diplomatic strains. The US State Department has also issued "Do Not Travel" advisory for its citizens due to the high risk of arrest, harassment, or detention.
3. Syria.
Reason for ban: ongoing civil war and security risks. Syria has been embroiled in a devastating civil war since 2011, and the country is currently considered one of the most dangerous places on Earth. In 2025, the US government maintains strict travel bans for American citizens due to the ongoing conflict, political instability, and the presence of extremist groups. While Syria's government is technically open to foreign visitors, the US State Department strongly advises against all travel to Syria. Americans who do attempt to enter face the real risk of arrest, kidnapping, or being caught in the crossfire of the civil war.
4. Yemen.
Reason for ban: war, terrorism, and humanitarian crisis. Yemen is another Middle Eastern country where the risk to American travelers is high due to the ongoing civil war. The conflict between the Houthi rebels and the Yemeni government, backed by a Saudi-led coalition, has led to widespread destruction and one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history. The US State Department has issued a Level 4 travel warning for Yemen, meaning Americans are strongly advised to avoid all travel to the country. The situation on the ground is extremely volatile, with the presence of terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, making it an exceptionally dangerous place for foreigners. Even aid workers and diplomats face serious risks in the region.
5. Afghanistan.
Reason for ban: political uncertainty and Taliban control. After the US withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, the Taliban regained control of the country, and it has remained a highly unstable and unsafe environment for Americans. The country's political situation remains fluid, with ongoing threats of terrorism and human rights abuses under the new Taliban regime. In 2025, Afghanistan is off-limits to Americans due to these ongoing dangers. The US State Department has issued a "Do Not Travel" warning for the country, and US citizens trying to enter Afghanistan are at risk of arrest, harassment, or worse. Travel restrictions are also enforced by the Taliban government, which often views Americans with suspicion.
6. Cuba.
Reason for ban: political and economic sanctions. Cuba has long been a place where US citizens have had a complicated relationship, especially since the Cuban Revolution in 1959. Though travel restrictions were loosened under President Obama's administration, they were tightened again under President Trump and have remained that way through 2025. While Americans are still allowed to visit Cuba, they face major restrictions due to the US embargo, which prohibits most forms of travel and business dealings with Cuban nationals. To travel to Cuba legally, Americans need to meet specific requirements, such as being involved in humanitarian work or educational activities. Tourism for personal reasons is essentially banned.
7. Venezuela.
Reason for ban: diplomatic tensions and authoritarian rule. Venezuela has faced an economic collapse and political instability under the leadership of Nicolas Maduro, resulting in widespread poverty, inflation, and the breakdown of civil order. The US has imposed numerous sanctions on the Venezuelan government, which has led to a deterioration in diplomatic relations. Venezuela's government has responded to these tensions by banning or severely restricting US travelers from entering the country. In addition to the political climate, the country is also plagued by high crime rates and a lack of basic services, which poses a significant risk to Americans trying to visit.
8. Russia.
Reason for ban: war in Ukraine and political repression. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 marked a turning point in US-Russian relations, and by 2025, travel between the two countries has become extremely difficult. In response to US sanctions and support for Ukraine, Russia has banned most American citizens from entering the country. Even though US travelers may still be able to apply for a visa, it's an arduous process, and there's no guarantee that their entry will be permitted. For many Americans, the fear of being detained, surveilled, or caught in a politically charged situation makes Russia a no-go destination.
9. Sudan.
Reason for ban: conflict and political instability. Sudan has been mired in conflict and political instability for years, especially following the 2019 overthrow of longtime dictator Omar al-Bashir. In 2025, the situation remains volatile, with rival factions vying for control and widespread violence continuing in certain regions. The US government has issued travel warnings for Sudan due to the dangers posed by armed conflict, terrorism, and lawlessness. Many areas of the country remain completely off-limits for American travelers, and those who attempt to enter could face arrest or violence.
10. Libya.
Reason for ban: civil war, terrorism, and instability. Libya has been embroiled in a civil war since the 2011 fall of Muammar Gaddafi, and the country remains politically unstable. Various armed groups control different parts of the country, and there are frequent terrorist attacks and kidnappings of foreign nationals. For Americans, entering Libya in 2025 is nearly impossible. The US government has issued a blanket ban on travel to Libya, citing the ongoing civil war, terrorist activity, and lack of rule of law. Any attempt to visit could end in arrest, injury, or worse. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos that are all about spreading the right message and creating positive, safe content. See you in the next one.